welcome to Lime Rock Park for round 6 of the first season of the Alpha Touring Challenge here on the Alpha Touring Rewind. This is round 6 you are seeing as they head through turn number 1 here on the formation lap for round number 6. And this is Francois Schink on pole. We're going to get the grid up in a moment. And check this out, Schink with a 57.2 to start this race off, your championship leader looking strong today. Then it's Jonathan Strahl on the front row alongside him in P2. Then it is championship protagonist Logan McKenzie just in front of other championship protagonist Slugnificent, both chasing current leader Francois Schink. Romain Faux is in 4th and John Lazon is in 6th. Then it's Cox, Cockaigne, Dejeau, Darnell, Blondal, and then Edwards, who has not gridded. So those are your drivers for today. And let's take a look at the championship standings as they run before we get this one started. Right now, Schink has a 7-point lead over McKenzie and then Abrams, Cox, and Forster. Today's race, a 1-hour jaunt around Lime Rock Park. It is March 8th, 2021. There will be a pit stop. The pace car is off, and Schink is ready to lead them to the line. We're racing for round 6 of season 1 of the Alpha Touring Challenge. Heading down into turn number 1, Schink has a nice advantage over Strahl. McKenzie on the inside of Faux, trying to hold on to that third position. Schink leads them out of turn number 2, and it looks like they're starting to get into a line here, and a little bit of a battle going on back there in the midfield for that 7th position. That is Spencer Cockaigne cutting just in front of Wiley Cox. A nice move to seal the deal on that little maneuver, and that keeps him in P7. Schink out in front. Strahl is 6/10 behind him. And then look at this, Slug defending against John Lazon, who was looking for a little bit of a move into that turn. Romain has some damage to his rear end. And here you see Dejeau and Cox getting back past Cockaigne there, and now Blondal going a bit wide, but he manages to keep his foot in it and keeps it on track. He is going racing. We are through one lap here at Lime Rock Park, and Schink leads us by a full second. As we roll on to the 4th lap in this one, not even 3 minutes elapsed. We are going to log a lot of laps today. And Jonathan Strahl is right on the tail end of Schink, but here we go. It is Slug making the move on the number 3 car. Romain has nothing to say about that, and a lot of front end damage to the 14 there, but he manages to get past Romain just fine, and he continues on 4th. He's now chasing his teammate, and it is Lazon who is now looking for a way to get around that number 3 Audi. Last time around, Slug was the fastest car on track. Now he is hounding his teammate. His teammate a little wide into the final corner. Look at this. What a move from Slug. And that is going to compromise McKenzie down the straight. And Romain's going to take a shot at him going around the inside. And he completes the move. And that has cost McKenzie 2 positions. Slug now up into the podium places. Lazon didn't get past Romain. Now has to deal with McKenzie in front of him. And this is a nice little train of cars here hanging out behind the leaders. Schink and Strahl are still up there, and no movement from them thus far. Further back, it's JB Dejeau who leads this sort of midfield gathering here with him and Wiley Cox, and then Spencer Cockaigne, Mark Darnell, Spencer Elliott, and August Blondal bring up the tail end of the field. And McKenzie looking for a little bit of revenge on Romain. Coming down the front straight. He's got a nice exit here, and he's going to have a run down into turn number 1. He's got the overspeed, goes to the inside. Romain holds the outside, and the tied Audi's going to get that preferred inside line. He pulls ahead, and he's back into 4th. Slug is now about a second up the road, trying to chase down the leaders. Let's see if McKenzie can follow his teammate back to the front. 7 minutes into this race, Wiley Cox putting some pressure on Dejoux. He gets a little squirrely there, and now Cox trying to get the nose in, but he just cannot get the power down and slide into that spot. As a result, he is going to stay just behind Dejoux as they head down to the chicane. But meanwhile, Spencer Elliott going off course. That allows August Blondal through. Allows Zahn making a move on Romain going into the second to last corner. He was a little slow coming up the hill. And this is all kicking off as we approach the 8-minute mark here. Mark Darnell and Spencer Cockane going through there side by side. And Spencer goes around him as well. So that's 2 positions picked up for the number 16 in 1 lap. And look at this. I think Slugnificent has finally caught Jonathan Strahl, and he's going to have a chance to make a move on him. Strahl kind of holding the middle of the track, goes back to the outside. Slug's going to go for that inside line. I'm a bit surprised I'm not seeing more people defend to the inside here today, because look at that. That is just an easy move to pull off. No contest. Slug now into P2, and he is chasing Francois. He is the fastest car on track. I believe he does have the fastest lap of the race, but only just over Schink. They have very similar pace. It's going to be interesting to see if he can close this 1 second gap. The slipstream is going to help him out as they head down to these straightaways, but this looks like it might be your race for the lead today. It's the Slug versus the Schink. On board with John Lazon, heading through the chicane instead of taking that quick kink up the hill. And look at that, McKenzie got a bad run out of the chicane, and this is an opportunity for John. There may have been slight contact there. He's gonna have that inside line, but look at the speed that McKenzie carried around the outside there, and John just has to abandon that overtake attempt. He might get another shot down the straight. We're gonna get a sort of opportunity to see how strong the slipstream is here, and you'll see just not close enough, and he's gonna have to stay in P5 for now. 17 minutes into this one, and McKenzie is feeling the pressure. Lazon is on his rear bumper, and he's going to go for a move. McKenzie goes for a bit of a defensive maneuver, holds the inside or the middle of the straight, but he can't get all the way to the inside. He's going to choose to pinch John down, but that just makes it even easier for Lazon to slide ahead. And look at that, into P4, the Canadian. And we're about to see how much pace he actually has here. Maybe he can get up here and chase down Jonathan. And I think we are seeing McKenzie continue to fade as he is falling prey to Romain once again now, and he has to yield the position. Look at this, he's defending to the inside, but Romain takes the outside. I think McKenzie's just torched his tires because he is plummeting through the field here, and an excellent overtake by Romain. It's the first one we've seen all day where someone had to go around the outside, and he has done that to perfection. And it looks like Jonathan Strahl is going to be our first taker on pit lane. And this is going to take him from third all the way to the back. He'll have a lot of clean air to run. This is an early pit stop, only 20 minutes into the race. Let's see if he goes for tires here, or if he's just fueling up. It looks like he might just be fueling up. So an interesting strategy here. Maybe just wanting to avoid any kind of traffic. But yes, it's going to be just fuel for the number 23. And he's going to get released just ahead of August Blondal here. Yes, he's going to have a lot of clean air to work with. And I think this might be a reaction from the Slug to make sure that Strahl cannot undercut him. He is pulling into the pits along with his teammate, Logan McKenzie, who's pitting from P5. So this is an interesting bit of strategy going on. These are all very early pit stops. The Slug is going to take front tires, and now we're going to see McKenzie pull in front of him, and he's going to get those tires as well. And McKenzie probably needed those with how much he was plummeting, but the Slug has been very fast today, very on pace, so I'm a bit surprised by this strategy choice. So here we are 9 minutes later, the Slug finally catching back up to Stroll after getting overcut, losing a little bit of time on pit lane. He has made his way back to Jonathan, but this does not bode well for the battle for the lead, because this would imply that Francois has built up about a 4-second gap based on these gaps, these times, how long the pit stops took. So Slug's got to pick this up if he wants a shot at winning it, and that has to start with this move right here on Jonathan Stroll down the front straight. He did it before, he does it again. He's clear before they even make it to turn 1, and that is a move into presumably P2 once the pits have cycled through. And here we go, Francois Schink coming out of pit road now. He has pit before some of these others, but he is 18 seconds clear of the Slug. And what he has done is he has chosen to not take front tires. He gained about 15 seconds from the difference in pit stop time. I don't think that's Slug's only got 30 minutes to do this, and that's a 22-second gap. It's going to be tough. He'll need Schink to kind of be held up here by well, these are actually cars that are a lap down. JB Dejoux is in pit lane, so here comes P4. So that leaves Lazon, Romain, and Wiley Cox to be the last 3 cars that have not pitted. Schink should very easily get ahead of all of them and then be quite ahead of the Slug. He just needs to clear this lap traffic quickly, and then after that he will be able to, and look at that, Darnell's going to let him by. And then once he works his way around August, he will be on pace to cruise to victory here at Lime Rock. So here we are. John Lazon's come out of the pits 6 seconds ahead of the Slug. Romain is 3 seconds ahead of the Slug. McKenzie and Jonathan Stroll battling here. Looks like McKenzie just beat him out of the chicane. And that is the battle for 6th. Jonathan just off the pace since the pit stop. McKenzie's car's come alive a little bit. And the difference there, I mean, they both, well, Stroll did not take tires. McKenzie did. Based on the time that he spent on pit lane, Stroll may have overfueled that car a little bit. And he is most likely feeling that as he slides down the order. And we're looking at Wiley Cox going into turn 1. It looks like something goes wrong here. Oh, it's just a tire in the grass. He was running P5, but with that, that's going to let McKenzie and then Stroll both through. And Wiley Cox demoted to P7, and that is so easy to do. And back then, the grass was so slick, you just put a tire off and you are gone, especially at Lime Rock Park. It's taken a little bit, but the Slug has finally caught Romain. The pace difference, the delta is just not that large. Taking tires was definitely not the move, but it has still helped him at least catch Romain to battle for a podium spot. They're going to be wheel to wheel into turn number 1, but that inside line, we've seen Romain work the outside before, but he just doesn't have the grip advantage this time, and he can't do anything there. So a Slug into P3. But he has not closed the gap to Lazon much at all since he came out of the pits. So I'm not sure that he's going to be able to get there before the end of this race. Meanwhile, Schink, not taking tires, does not seem to have harmed him at all. His lead has held steady around that 18-second mark, and he is dominating this race at Lime Rock Park. We tick over onto the final lap of racing. Schink gets the white flag. There's a couple battles throughout the field remaining here. Romain, Foe, and Logan McKenzie. Look at this, McKenzie with a lot of damage. Romain slowing down there. Wonder what happened through the chicane. But McKenzie's going to take P4. Slug onto pit road. Oh no, what is this? What's happened to the Slug? He's down in the grass. He has some kind of damage and he tows. He's out of this race. And suddenly, McKenzie promoted onto the podium, gaining 2 spots in 1 lap. Wiley Cox and Jonathan Stroll take the white flag. bumper to bumper, but it is Schink coming out of the final corner. A dominating, clinical performance, a clean sweep of Lime Rock Park. It's Francois Schink with another victory this season, solidifying that championship lead. And 23 full seconds behind him, John Lazon is going to exit the final corner for a stellar P2 drive. Really great job done today. And then, of course, P3 is going to be Logan McKenzie if he can keep Romain back there. Look at the damage to the front end of that tied car. That is a podium for him. Romain 4th, Wiley 5th. And then Jonathan Strahl ends up 3 seconds off of Wiley. Oh, and he is slow. He's out of fuel. He is out of fuel, and I don't think there's anyone left to catch him, though. Dejoe has finished the race, so he will coast across the line. And that will do it for Lime Rock Park. We'll take a quick moment to go back and see what happened there at the end with both McKenzie and Slug. All right, so we are on board with Logan McKenzie, taking a look at what happened here. This is just before the pass on Romain. Romain goes to the inside defensive line into the chicane, and then it takes a bit of a wide line over the curb, hits that curb. That slows up Logan. I don't think he was expecting that, and then Romain, just in a show of sportsmanship, it looks like, lets him through. And see, it looks like the alignment's fine, so just a bit of cosmetic damage, some aero damage for Logan, but yeah, just a little incident there heading into the chicane. And now here is the onboard with Slugnificent as his issue arises. Let's see if we can detect what's wrong here. That is strange. Interesting. I'm not sure what happened there, if he ran out of fuel or what. It didn't sound like it was choking for fuel, but pulls off to the side either way. And a little mechanical failure for Slugnificent unfortunately demotes him further down the order today. So that is it. We are done with Lime Rock Park. Round 6 is a resounding victory by Francois Schink. Let's take a look at the results from today's race. And a 22.8 second margin of victory is just dominating, crushing over John Lazon, and then Logan McKenzie rounding out that podium. Then you have Romain, Foe, Wiley Cox, Jonathan Strahl, JB Dejoe, Mark Darnell, Spencer Cockane, and then Slug ends up right there at the end of the top 10. Now let's take a look at what the point standings looked like before we came to Lime Rock. You see Schink with that 7-point advantage over McKenzie, and then Abrams 11 points back. Now looking at the current points table, and Schink has extended his lead to 15 points here over McKenzie. And then Abrams has slipped a little further back. He's on 84 points. And then we have Wiley Cox and John Lazon there in 4th and 5th. Lazon jumping Forster. And then you have Darnell, Camilleri, Edwards, Foe, Elliott, Foes, Benot, Ensing, Blondal, Cockane, Dejoe, and Strahl. I believe there are a couple more people hiding at the bottom of the table. Yes, you have Nichols, Carpenter, and Jeffries. 21 drivers participated in the opening 6 rounds. We've still got an entire second half of Season 1 to go. We've got 6 races down, 7 to go. The back half of Season 1 is coming up next on the Alpha Touring Challenge Rewind. Stay tuned, and thanks for watching.